Hello everyone and welcome back to another video slash podcast. In this one I'm going to be reviewing the game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now I want to preface this by saying yes, I am aware that this game came out November of last year. However, I wanted to wait to review it until after they had a chance to fix a lot of the bugs that happened when it first came out, and honestly to wait till the price dropped. You guys know me, I'm not a fan of EA in any respects anymore, and so anytime they put out a new game, I'm very skeptical and generally unwilling to pay full price until I know it's going to be worth my money. Steam had a sale this weekend, and it was 50% off, which is still $30 US dollars, which is it's still a bit much in my opinion, but I thought it was finally time to give it a shot. So graphically, I would say it is pretty impressive. In most areas, a little lackluster in other areas. The character design and the motion capture that they use for both the movement in the game as well as the facial expressions during the dialogue scenes, it actually looks pretty great. You can tell they put a lot of effort into that. The scenery looks pretty good in most areas, but honestly, it feels a little low quality overall. Again, this game came out towards the end of 2019, and for a game of that time period, I feel like they could have had better graphics, higher quality graphics. The cutscenes looked pretty good, but you could tell it was basically rendered in the same engine that the gameplay was rendered in, which, you know, pros and cons. That way you basically go seamlessly from gameplay to cutscenes, but then the cutscenes don't have any of that higher quality that you usually expect when you're watching a cutscene. And again, I think overall it was just a little lackluster. The audio was pretty well done. Credit where credit's due. The lightsaber sounds are really satisfying, so are the other weapons, blasters and whatnot. The ambient sounds are pretty immersive for the most part. Water and animals and things like that, the wind blowing. The music also is fantastic, honestly. They did a great job with that as far as setting the scene. I think The Who did a song for the opening cinematic that was really cool, and it kind of set the tone for the game. The gameplay, though, is where the game really starts to break down. I'm a PC player, so generally speaking, when I'm playing on PC, I want to have mouse and keyboard controls. And so that's what I started with when I started playing this game. To be fair, the game does warn you that it recommends using a controller, and, you know, being the tester that I am, I wanted to just, okay, let's give it a shot with mouse and keyboard first. And I basically played for about an hour, and just the whole time I was just incredibly frustrated with how they laid out the control scheme and how it functioned for a lot of the important things like dodging, for example. And yes, you can customize the key mapping and layout, but no matter how I tried it, it just was clunky as could be, because, you know, you're using your fingers for movement, obviously, but then if you need to dodge, you have to move one of those fingers, so that limits where you can dodge to. So again, I played for about an hour with that, and I just got so frustrated, I gave up and had to walk away for a minute. I came back with a controller, plugged it in, and the difference really was night and day. The game is definitely a lot more playable when you're using a controller. However, the gameplay is still really clunky, and that's, you know, being generous. The dodge function, which I discussed earlier, is essential, because this is basically an attempt at making a Star Wars Dark Souls game. So you need to be able to dodge, you need to be able to roll around your enemies, and you need to be able to maneuver. And the issue I found is that you don't actually move enough to dodge the attack a lot of times. So you'll hit the dodge button, but your character only moves a little bit, and your enemy's attack still hits you, and it just kind of wastes that whole moment. It's like, well, crap, now I'm down on health, and I can't really dodge. For example, there's one enemy, I think it's called like an Agobago or something. It's some sort of like frog reptilian thing. One of the issues I saw is that when he would leap into the air, and okay, he's telegraphing his attack, I'm going to dodge out of the way. I noticed as I was dodging out of the way, he was rotating in midair, tracking me. So it defeated the purpose of dodging, and he would still hit me. And I was just getting so frustrated with that, because again, like, the game is built to be, you know, dodge and attack, dodge and attack, dodge and attack, very similar to the Dark Souls franchise. But when your dodging isn't actually dodging out of the way, it just makes for a frustrating gameplay experience because you're doing what the game is telling you to do to be able to succeed, and it isn't working. Credit where credit's due, the blaster deflection works pretty well, and it's pretty satisfying when you're able to, you know, deflect the blasts back at the enemies and damage them or kill them or whatever. But then you get to the other aspect of that, which is guarding and parrying, and against melee enemies, it again just kind of breaks down because you should be able to, you know, guard to block an enemy. If you time it right, you can basically parry and knock them back, and then you can deal damage back towards them. But I noticed there's a lot of, you know, basic enemies, not like mini bosses or anything like that, who, when they attack and you parry them, they don't get knocked back at all. You don't get that opportunity for a counterattack like you're supposed to, according to the game. And again, it just gets frustrating because you parry, your character goes through the motions, but they're not phased at all, and they just attack you, and you lose a lot of health. And this game is, again, kind of similar to Dark Souls, where it's like you don't regenerate health, and you have a very limited amount of healing capability. So you basically have to go all the way back to, I forget what they call them, I think meditation spots in this game, which act as, you know, a bonfire, if you're familiar with Dark Souls, where you can regain your health as well as your healing stems, but it resets the map so that the enemies respawn. And I just got so frustrated because there's this one area where it was just after a meditation spot, and you go up, and there's two, I think, melee guys and then two range guys. Well, the two melee guys, you know, charge you, so you're busy trying to fight them while you're getting shot at. And the difficulty, like I said, is what the game wants you to do is to, okay, parry, counterattack, parry, counterattack, you know, deflecting blaster bolts, whatever. But the gameplay breaks down. The mechanics don't actually work, and it's incredibly frustrating. The storyline and the characters seem pretty interesting, and they do set a good story as far as drawing you in and getting you to want to know more, getting you to explore and find out more about this world that they're creating. The issue is, this is, you know, little bits of pieces here and there between all of this honestly rancid gameplay. And I get so frustrated, and I lose patience, and I'm trying to play my way through the game so I can do a thorough review. But honestly, I've played for, I think, you know, 3 or 4 hours now, and I feel like I haven't progressed at all because I have to keep redoing areas because I keep dying and things like that. One of the other gameplay issues I just thought of, there's a lot of kind of puzzle solving and platforming, and I don't know if it's the camera controls or the jumping mechanic, but I find myself falling and dying pretty frequently because the game doesn't really make it clear on what's climbable and what's, you know, wall runnable and things like that. And so as you're trying to explore these vast maps and find all these little hidden lore secrets and things like that, you know, you lose a lot of time because you die and you have to redo that area. And it's just really frustrating because I want to experience the game. I want to be able to give this a fair review, and I can't even get that far into it. Overall, I mean, I have to say that EA has screwed up yet again, which really isn't shocking to me. I feel like they really need to lose the exclusivity that they have with Star Wars, and that other developers need to be able to have a shot at it in order for us to actually get a decent Star Wars game once again. It had a lot of potential, but again, it just falls short, and I can't help but feel that EA is the one to blame. If you want to play something similar to this, that's, in my opinion, better, go for Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. It's on Steam for $10, which is the full price, so if it goes on sale, it's even cheaper than that. It came out in, I think, 2003, but honestly, the gameplay is more enjoyable on that. It has a cool storyline with engaging characters, and, you know, in my opinion, I would recommend it over this game, honestly. But that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe so that you can see new videos as soon as they appear. And to my Patreon supporters, I love you guys. You guys rock, and we will see you all in the next video.